Have you ever wondered why Uyghur fighters want to take down China? What drives this conflict? It's a question that has been simmering in the international arena, with recent developments in Syria and Afghanistan throwing it into sharp relief. The Uyghur fighters we're talking about belong to the Turkestan Islamic Party, a group that's been active in the Syrian conflict for over a decade, and now, with the overthrow of the Syrian government, they have a new target in their sights: China. But why China? What has incited these fighters to shift their focus from a war-torn Middle Eastern country to one of the world's superpowers? The answer isn't as straightforward as you might think. Yes, the Turkestan Islamic Party seeks to establish an independent Uyghur state in Xinjiang, a region in China's far west. But the motivations behind their actions are rooted in a complex web of history, politics, and ideology. Treatment of the Uyghurs has been a point of contention for years, with reports of widespread human rights abuses causing concern worldwide. But is this what's driving these fighters to take such drastic measures? And what about the international implications? The Turkestan Islamic Party's activities in Syria and Afghanistan have raised alarm bells in global corridors of power. Are we on the brink of a major geopolitical shift? What does this mean for China's relations with other nations, particularly the United States, which recently removed the Turkestan Islamic Party from its list of terrorist organizations? These are the questions we'll be exploring in this series. We'll delve into the Uyghur fighters' motives, China's actions, and the international implications of this unfolding conflict. So, what has spurred these Uyghur fighters to take such drastic measures? Let's dive in. What is the Turkestan Islamic Party and what do they want? Now that's a question that's been echoing in the chambers of global affairs. The Turkestan Islamic Party, or TIP, is an Uyghur militant group with roots that run deep into the heart of the Uyghur struggle. The Uyghurs, a Turkic ethnic group primarily residing in the Xinjiang region of China, have long sought independence from what they deem as oppressive Chinese rule. The TIP, born out of this struggle, has taken the fight beyond the borders of China, making their presence felt in conflict zones like Syria and Afghanistan. The TIP's objective is clear-cut. They seek to establish an independent Uyghur state. But their journey hasn't been a straight road. It's been a winding path, zigzagging through alliances with various rebel factions, notably the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham in Syria. Their alignment with these factions isn't just about shared ideologies. It's a strategic move, a means to an end, with the end being Uyghur independence. Over the past decade, the TIP has entrenched itself in Syria, participating in the overthrow of the Syrian government and gaining combat experience that could be potentially used against China. But their activities aren't confined to Syria. They've also been active in Afghanistan, a fact that's raising alarm bells for China. Considering Afghanistan's geographical proximity to Xinjiang, the TIP's threats against China aren't empty words. They've demonstrated their intent by vowing to take the fight to China, a pledge that sent ripples across the international community. But while they've made their intentions clear, their capability to launch attacks against the Chinese government remains a point of debate. The Turkestan Islamic Party is a force to reckon with, but what has China done to incite their wrath? To understand this, we need to delve into China's actions in Xinjiang, actions that have sparked international outrage and fueled the TIP's determination to fight back. But that's a story for the next scene. Why are the Uyghurs so discontented with China's ruling party? This question takes us to the heart of the storm brewing in Xinjiang. The Chinese government has implemented a series of policies that have been met with significant opposition from the Uyghur population. Over the years, Beijing has been accused of suppressing Uyghur culture and religion. Reports have emerged of forced assimilation, with the government allegedly encouraging Han Chinese to migrate to Xinjiang, changing the demographic balance in the region. The Uyghur language, a significant part of their cultural identity, has been downplayed in education and public life. This has led to a feeling of marginalization among the Uyghur population, but perhaps the most controversial policy is the alleged establishment of so-called re-education camps. International reports suggest that hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs have been detained in these facilities, subjected to forced labor, and indoctrinated with the Chinese Communist Party's ideology. Beijing has defended these camps as vocational training centers aimed at combating extremism and fostering integration. However, these claims have been met with widespread skepticism. The Chinese government's crackdown on the Uyghurs has not been limited to mainland China. Reports suggest that Beijing has also been pressuring foreign countries to deport Uyghurs back to China, where they face detention and alleged persecution. These actions have fueled a sense of disenfranchisement and desperation among the Uyghurs, further deepening their desire for independence. The Uyghur fighters' vows to take the fight to China can be seen as a response to these policies, a cry for recognition and a demand for the right to self-determination. China's actions have certainly stoked the fire, but what does this mean on a global scale? How does this conflict affect the rest of the world? A question that's been looming ever since the Uyghur fighters vowed to take their fight to the heart of China. The ripples of this conflict are reaching far beyond the borders of China and Syria, creating a network of international implications that are becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. For starters, this conflict has strained the already tense relations between two of the world's superpowers, China and the United States. The US took a step that puzzled many when it removed the Turkestan Islamic Party, the very group backing the Uyghur fighters, from its list of terrorist organizations. This move didn't sit well with China, who accused the US of playing a dangerous game with global security. But the implications don't stop there. China's overseas investments, a significant part of the country's economic and geopolitical strategy, could also be at risk. The Turkestan Islamic Party's threats aren't limited to China's mainland. They extend to any location where China has a stake, essentially turning China's global investments into potential targets. This could potentially shake investor confidence and affect China's ambition to extend its influence globally. Looking beyond China and the US, the activities of the Turkestan Islamic Party could impact other countries, particularly those where the group has established a foothold. Afghanistan, for instance, has seen an increase in the group's activities, raising concerns about the future stability of a country already grappling with its own set of complex issues. Then there's Syria, a nation that's just emerging from the ashes of a long and devastating civil war. The presence of the Turkestan Islamic Party in Syria could complicate the delicate process of rebuilding the nation and potentially affect diplomatic relations between Syria and China. In essence, what started as a struggle for independence by the Uyghur fighters in China's Xinjiang region has morphed into a global issue. It's a conflict that has the potential to shape international relations and influence geopolitical strategies. The Uyghur fighters' struggle is not just a local issue, it's a global one. So why do Uyghur fighters want to take down China? It's a complex issue with no easy answers. We've journeyed together through this intricate landscape of global politics, dissecting this conflict from various angles. We started by understanding the unfolding conflict, discussing the rise of the Turkestan Islamic Party and their role in the Syrian civil war. We saw how this Uyghur militant group has made a fierce declaration against China, threatening to bring their fight to Beijing's doorstep. In our exploration of the Uyghur fighters' motives, we discussed their longing for independence and their struggle against what they perceive as Chinese oppression. This struggle, fueled by a sense of injustice and a desire for autonomy, has driven them to take drastic measures. We then delved into China's actions, their attempts to maintain stability within their borders, and their crackdown on Uyghur activities. We considered the country's stance on the matter, which is marked by a firm resolve to combat what they see as threats to their national security. Our journey took us to the international implications of this issue. We saw how the activities of the Turkestan Islamic Party in Syria and Afghanistan could potentially strain diplomatic relations between various nations. We also examined how the actions of these Uyghur fighters could impact China's relations with other countries and potentially pose a risk to Chinese citizens and assets abroad. And now we find ourselves at the end of this journey, having explored this labyrinth of global politics, cultural conflicts, and human struggles. But remember, this is not the end of the discussion. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, and it's an issue that warrants continued exploration and understanding. The world is an intricate tapestry of stories and struggles, and it's our responsibility to keep questioning, to keep exploring. So, As we conclude today's discussion, let's not forget the importance of staying informed and engaged. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content. Stay curious, folks. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.